This video is going to cover the first tab after you've set up a new estimate, which is the Estimate Details tab, and just some key things you need to know about it. So in short, this first screen is really just capturing information about what the quote is, who it's for. You can load documents in and store notes relevant to the estimate. We're also storing our work location. So I'm going to run through some of the key parts here off this screen somewhere, but we use this work location almost everywhere. So for purchase order delivery or for quote request where we show the site address to somebody or on the quote itself, we use this address. As I'm putting it in, so I'm going to go 123 John Street. You'll notice that these little Google suggestions pop up and it's just there trying to be helpful. So if you can find it, great, click on it, it'll drop it in. You will almost certainly at some point come across an example where Google just doesn't know what it is. So it might be a lot number, or it might be a new street or something like that. And ultimately, not a big deal. If you do get that scenario, just type in whatever you need and hit save. And that's the address we, in the end, use. So short answer, if Google has it, brilliant. If not, not a big deal. A couple of other things on this screen. We're obviously storing all the customer's information. We have a customer address. We get quite a few questions. Why do we store the work location and the customer's address? Oftentimes they are the same if it's going to be a renovation job. But if it's a new build, obviously the customer doesn't live on the vacant site. And this is then the invoicing address. So you can store all of that as well. Again, we use all of this information somewhere. So things like the customer's email, that's where we're going to send the quote. The mobile number, that's how we can, if we want to text the customer something, we can contact them that way as well. Documents is a really handy area. So first point here is that your plans don't necessarily need to go in here. A really common mistake for new players is they'll put their plans in here. Ultimately, the plans will go into the next tab, and that's where we'll scale them and do all the takeoffs. But yeah, your plans don't necessarily need to be in here. This is more for things like generic documents that you might get. So I'm thinking permits, for example, or you might get quotes from people, or you might get selection items where someone sends you an image of a basin set that they want. Whatever you do load, it's going to ask what category it is, so it wants to group them. So you might say it's a selection. And anything that you do put here, you will be able to send out with a quote request or a quote or a purchase order later on. So we do reuse all of these documents later on as well. Quick note to using this on a tablet or a mobile or anything that's got a camera. If you go and tap on this, specifically I'm thinking mobile devices here, tap on the documents area, it will pop up saying, do you want to take a photo or access your photo library? So a really common usage we see of this is for people to use BuildXact on their mobile device and take either before or after photos for renovations or site photos and just load them straight into here. The benefit here is you don't have to take a million photos and email them to yourself. You can take them on site and it just drops it straight into the software. Final point is just this notes area. This is literally just a notes pad, but it's got a couple of really cool features. So for example, let's say you want to store the lockbox combo for the site, or you've chatted to your customer and you want to log something down before it leaves your brain. You might say client call, maybe something was selected, or could be literally anything. What it's going to do is log when that happened and also who did it. And this just becomes a really good notepad. So you can always look back and see, particularly if there's a dispute about something, or you need to check when something actually occurred. If you've gone and made a note about it, it just makes that really, really easy. So really like this notes section, particularly good if there's several people working on a project. And that's the estimate details section.